teller is Jasmine Bryan. And Jasmine, why don't you come on up? Mr. Patterson will get you set up. She's the daughter of James and Joanne Bryan. This amazing 8th grader loves science, especially when there's hands-on. Funny how that is, right, teachers? How much we can keep their attention when we've got something that's interactive for them. She loves her dog Simba, and in fact, oh boy, her exciting, action-filled story has a dog in it too. Now with her wonderfully developed story, kind of, sort of, maybe, not really, but maybe built on real events. The title of it is Bad Business, and all I can say is, you hang on to your seats. Go ahead, Jasmine.
It was a Saturday morning when it all started. "It's a deal. You're on," said the two boys. At breakfast, David and Tyler were discussing ways to earn money, but their parents had different ideas. They could not compromise, so that's when the deal happened. They said they would earn the money all by themselves without their parents' help, and if they failed, they had to do it their parents' way. It's now early Monday morning, and David and Tyler were thinking of what they can do first to earn money. They were in Tyler's backyard, and they saw the pool, so they thought they could clean the pool. They went and asked Tyler's dad if they could. He said, "Yes, you can clean the pool, and I'll give you $20 for it, only if it's good and clean." So they started to clean the pool. When they were cleaning the pool, David went to go scoop out some leaves, lost his balance, and fell into the pool. He was now soaking wet. Tyler's dad came out and got on him and said, "You should have been more careful." Sadly, the boys now earned any money from trying to clean the pool, and we're going to have to do something else tomorrow. It's now Tuesday, and it was a very hot day, so the boys went inside and got some lemonade. That's when it occurred to them they could do a lemonade stand, so they got the supplies, went to the corner, and started selling lemonade. When they were selling lemonade, it was going really good for a little while, but then Tyler saw a bee. He thought it was no big deal, but a few minutes later, there were bees all around them. That's when he flipped backwards out of his chair, knocking it to the ground, and he ran around like crazy. And when some of the bees started to chase him, he flipped the table over. All the money and lemonade went everywhere. He even managed to flip David over backward, who was sitting in his chair, watching him go crazy. So to end the day, the boys had a few bee stings and only $5. It's now Wednesday, and the boys were a little disappointed with how their businesses were going. They saw Mrs. Jefferson raking the leaves in her yard. "Hey, do you think Mrs. Jefferson needs some help? She's been raking leaves for a long time." So they went and asked Mrs. Jefferson if she needed help. She said yes, so the boys started to rake leaves into one big pile. When they were putting the leaves in the bags, they tore holes in the bottom of the bags. So when they went to carry them, leaves started to fall out of the bags because the holes were so big. Then Mrs. Jefferson saw the mess and started yelling at them to stop because they were making an even bigger mess. So the boys not earned any money from trying to clean the pool, and they were going to have to do something else tomorrow. It's now Thursday, and they have not made any money. So the boys, it was a very hot day, and the boys saw one of their neighbors washing their car. They thought that they could do a car wash in their neighborhood, so they got the supplies, went to put up some signs, and started to wash cars. When they were washing the cars, they were doing really good for a little while, but things went south when they cleaned one car. David accidentally stepped into a bucket of soap and water, slipped, and fell. It wasn't until Tyler went and helped him up that they noticed a giant scratch on the side of the door. Their neighbor noticed it too, and he was not too happy about that. So their neighbor told their parents, and they said they would use the money they earned so far to help pay for damages. So to end the day, the boys had to give their neighbor all the money they earned, and once again had no money at the end of the day. It's now Friday, and the boys have not made any money. "What are we going to do? We have no money, and we can't do anything right," said David. "It's okay, we're going to figure something out," said Tyler. But all the ideas they had before did not work out. Then Mrs. Robinson approached the boys sitting on the side of the road. "Hi, boys. I'm going to town for the day, and I need someone to watch my dog, Sparky. Would you two be able to do this for me?" "Yes, we can do that for you, Mrs. Robinson." So later on, when the boys were watching the dogs, watching Sparky, they took him for a walk. They put him on the leash and went off. As they were walking Sparky, Sparky's leash came off him and he took off running. They first chased Sparky to was over where they did the car wash. Sparky went running straight through there, knocking over buckets of soap and water, and was now covered in suds and water. Then they chased Sparky to was over where Mrs. Jefferson was still raking the leaves. Sparky went running straight through the piles of leaves, making Mrs. Jefferson's yard messy once again. Sparky was now covered in water, suds, and leaves. Then they chased Sparky to where they did the lemonade stand. As they went chasing Sparky through their bees that were still around there went after them. So now they chased Sparky to where it all began, the swimming pool. They went chasing Sparky to Tyler's backyard, up the pool deck, and without even realizing what they were about to do, they jumped into the pool after Sparky. When they went into the pool, the leaves had left them, and the suds and leaves had came off of Sparky. They grabbed Sparky, went inside, and dried him off just in time before Mrs. Robinson got home. When she got there to pick up Sparky, she asked, "Was my Sparky a good boy?" Yes. So Mrs. Robinson gave the boys $20 for doing her a favor, and at the end of the day, the boys finally made some money. So the boys made some money at the end of the week, but maybe not as much as they hoped for.